And then the dockets that were at were they at the inspectorate with Captain Phillips? Do you know how? Same thing.
Same thing. She's a divisional commissioner of detectives. She's phoned by IDEC, and they tell her that they want dockets that are sitting in inspectorate. The question you should be asking first, how did they get to the inspectorate to start with? Now, the state, the province where the dockets come from, if you go and check their system, I believe even today, those dockets are still open. That system is open. Those dockets were transferred from that station to the provincial office. That's what the system will tell you. How they move from there to inspectorate, from inspectorate to IDEC, when the portfolio committee of police calls us to account and they want to know the status of those dockets, the system will tell you they are still at the provincial office in Gauteng, and yet Gauteng has never seen them.
Okay, I know that you'd already testified about rogue elements within IDEC, so I'm not going to do that. I suppose it's just trying to join the dots of everything finally. This gentleman, Mr. Steve Mutsume, I know you've been asked a few questions about him, but I'm more interested in what you know of him and what the SAPS officials know of him, that you would have even said in your text message to General Sinona. You would have even said, you are risking your lives. Don't blame me if you are found out and you're risking your life. General, that's quite a loaded statement, especially coming from a police officer. So who is this man and what's his modus operandi that even you, General, say, don't blame me if something happens to you? What did you think would happen to them?
Well, I was only relaying a message because I put those words there because they had pleaded with me not to expose our conversation to him. Their explanation about Steve Mutsume was that he's the one who has taken over from the Big Five. That's what they were telling me. And they say this man controls just about everything, from government officials to business, tenders, drugs, you name it. That's why they're that afraid that Sibia collects money from him. That's why they gave me the address of where Mutsume lives and where is the house where he meets up with Sibia. So it is them that gave me all this information. So when they describe this person as a god of criminality in the country that they are afraid of, I was not going to go and expose that. But because they introduced that meeting, I warned Sinona. If Nona was really concerned, as he was when he appeared before Matlanga, he would have reached out to me and said, Matlala has caused a problem. Please don't go ahead and release these names, because I gave it to him on WhatsApp. But he didn't. Instead, they're trying to twist what the meeting was about. That's when I concluded that, well, it might as well come out public. I did not know, I still don't know the face of Steve Mutsume, but they told me who is Steve Mutsume.
Can we take it that there are investigations that are underway on?
Definitely.
Okay.
Definitely, because subsequent to that meeting, I had to pass it to Jarukumal and them and say, Kat Matlala tells me that, Kat and Snon are telling me that there's a gentleman called Steve Mutsume that lives at Waterfall Estate, and he's got a property here in Sentin, and this is what he does.
Okay.
So they are then investigating as a result.
Okay. General, I want to disagree with something that you said earlier. In fact, I believe that you were reprimanding the MPs, where you were talking about them and about us and, having opinions. General, we're not a court of law here. We're public representatives. And we are not obliged to either be impartial or objective. We represent the views of people, and from time to time you'll hear us saying even things that people are saying out there. So I want to disagree with the notion that we cannot have views on a matter. Where you are correct is that once all that is said and done, we then need to objectively apply our minds to what we've heard. But it can't be. I disagree with you when you want to reprimand MPs for either demonstrating an affinity or lack of affinity to a particular witness. I don't think that is the role of the MPs. And I'm laying this as a background because I want to come to now where I disagree with you. And I think there's always been two issues. And I was hoping that by the time you come back, because when I asked you the first time, especially around issues of evidence around Minister Mkhunu, one of the things you said was that, no, Khumalo is going to come here. Ask him, he'll give you evidence. And unfortunately, General Khumalo came, there was no evidence. He said there was no evidence. General Masemula, and so forth and so forth. Now, that point has already been canvassed by members. I don't need to go back. But on the overreach of power, please do comment on this so we close it and we move, right? You've said today that, and I'm happy you said this, right? And this is not because I'm defending Minister Mkhunu. I honestly did not believe that Minister Mkhunu was part of a drug cartel. So you've said today you believe he was influenced, you believed that he was misled. Then you said, and when you were explaining that, you said, that's why you wanted to speak to him, so that you could just advise him, right? And maybe if he heard you and saw, I am assuming that what he was doing was wrong, he would have listened. The National Commissioner also said he would have tried to speak to them, but at that point, neither you nor the National Commissioner had issues of overstepping his powers. At that point, you just thought, no, but this is a wrong decision, not that you couldn't take that decision. What would be your comment to that?
I will say, for me, it was overstepping his powers. I did not want to wait for the National Commissioner to approach the minister. I felt after reading that, I said, Minister is not allowed to do this. Let me talk to him. Someone has influenced him wrong. That's why I call him immediately. I call the Chief of Staff to get into a meeting with him. I was honestly hoping that we're going to meet and talk about this. With the hope that I can warn him about the things where he's overstepping.
Okay, Honorable Adams testifies that nobody had a problem with this disbandment of the PKTT, right? Then he uses examples like the portfolio committee meeting and so forth and so forth. And he says, okay, I don't want to put words into his mouth now, but he says everything was going along fine. The National Commissioner says all he disagreed with was approach, né? That it shouldn't be immediately, but rather phased in over time. And if I put it to you that it was only then when you got the downloads from Minister Matlala that you then began to put together this whole issue of defeating the ends of justice and misrepresentation. But before that, it was never about whether he had the authority or not. You disagree with that?
I repeat again, Honourable Member, I think it was on the 2nd, if not the 3rd of January, shortly after the letter came out, that I reached out to the minister because I was against that which he wrote there. I was not against in the main about issues of intelligence because I did not know the background around it. Knowing that the regulation that's been amended gives him the powers now, and the SAPS management has not challenged that. So I assume that one is within him. I did not know what was happening with the border security. It does not fall under my command, so I didn't pay attention. What I was concerned about his role in taking a decision to shut down a team, it's that what was concerning me. And when I spoke and made some examples strongly with the Chief of Staff, Chief of Staff delivered the wrong message to the minister, or correct message, I do not know. But the minister took offense of that. That's why he advised the Chief of Staff to record me in a second conversation. So when the Chief of Staff came the second time around, and I'm sure you heard it in a conversation, that the only thing I wanted to do was to sit down with my leader and talk to him. He did not afford me that opportunity. Instead, he sent people to record me, which means the decision he took on the 31st, he took it consciously. He knew what he was busy with. Okay. The time passes by. I see all the wrong in between. That made me realize something is still not right. I gain in April, I sent him a message requesting for an audience.
General, I'm so sorry. I hear you. I hear you. I'm in injury time now. Okay, don't you find it strange, General, that every single officer that we have spoken to says they did not know Mr. Matlala until they read in December what of his contract and whatnot. I'm finding that very, very hard to believe, and I'll tell you why. The meeting at the Pearls happens on
In April last year.
in April last year.
Yes.
This is April that other year.
The incident of Matlala of a contract is 2024.
Yes, 2024.
Yes.
You meet him in
25.
2025.
That time I know about the investigations against him, about the contract, everything.
So
Not deny that.
when you were setting up then the sting operation with criminal intelligence, this guy had not been in your radar until the News 24 story about his contract.
I do not know what was happening at head office. But Ket Matlala, I think when he comes into the picture with the team, it's the team that is investigating the drug issues, the Vereeniging case. As they're investigating the Vereeniging case, then they pick up the links that brings this case into forensic, into detectives, and then Ket Matlala pops in. That's how they pick it up. That's why they raid in this.
So that's long before Minister Mhunu cancels the thing on the 20th of December, right? Because those investigations happened and then they culminated on the interventions or the actions on the 6th of December.
Yeah, that's why I kept on saying, Honorable Member, Minister Mhunu arrives there in June, July of 2024, but he writes a directive in December. I don't even think he knew what is the annual performance plan of the police look like. And the strategic plan, but he writes a disbandment of the team. So the period tells me that the minister was not aware about what's happening, and he was influenced to take this decision. I believe still that in the presence of the minister, I was not in that meeting, but when the minister sits in a meeting and he says, there's a problem about this contract, I think we need to cancel it, or whether those words he used or not. But looks like he's the one, the Minister who initiated the cancellation. From
Yes,
what I
and
gather.
that's what I'm saying, General. And the police knew about Ket Matlala even before the minister said cancel this thing because
That's
he was
correct.
being investigated. Isn't that strange that they let it go? They're busy investigating. They know this guy is here, but he's still doing health services for the police, and nobody claims to know him until the story breaks in December.
But the team already knows about the criminality that involves him on drugs. It's not the same people that are part of these contracts. So I don't even think, sitting here now, if you ask me the contracts that you have in the police, I won't tell you. Because I don't pay attention on those. I'll focus on what I do in my province. But there are many contracts we have in the organization. I don't believe the team was aware about the awarding of the contract and all those things as to who is involved. Even me, I didn't even know there's a contract given, who is the contractor. It's one of those things that we don't get involved from the operation side.
How do you then, when you think about this, how do you explain Minister flagging this contract and calling for its cancellation? Because it's one of the things that he puts forward
I
and
applaud
says, why would I do this if I'm working with them?
No, I applaud that. And I'm still saying again, I don't think Minister knew Ket Matlala. It is after the decision when Ket Matlala approaches Brown Mahotsi to complain that this man I'm feeding through you is doing this.
Okay.
That
Right
what
there
sparked
on
the action
feeding.
from Ket Matlala, from Mahotsi and Suleiman in Northwest. Because Ket Matlala is crying to them that you are saying to me, I must pay for this January 8 and this on behalf of the minister. But here is a minister taking a decision. So I like to believe a minister will not take a decision against Ket Matlala if he knew that Ket Matlala is supporting him financially. Surely he didn't know him. That's why he takes a decision, because it's been played by these Mahotsis and them.
General, I know that the investigations are still ongoing, but to date, have you found any evidence of Ket Matlala financially supporting the minister, using your words, whether it's for his presidential campaign? Remember, you said Brown Mahotsi is an information peddler, takes things and make it as if. So I don't think it's beyond the realm of possibility that Brown Mahotsu goes around and says, I'm telling the minister this, I'm doing this. In fact, that was the view that I got. Do you believe that you are, I am respecting the fact that you said there's investigations, but you are close to finding a link between Minister Mani Ketmatlala?
Well, the investigation happening in KZN, I've not been briefed about that. But the investigation happening in Gauteng, again, I cannot confirm because it's not in my space. What I believe still to date is that in the main, minister's role that leads into the criminal investigation is the action of that letter, is the interference with the police work. And when there's efforts to try and bring this to their attention, he doesn't want to take it, which therefore means he's been influenced and he believes the people that influenced him. If that was not the case, I wouldn't understand why would I ask for a meeting with the minister. He calls me to come to Pretoria on behalf of SBIA, peace talk. He still acknowledges my request, but he let me go back to Durban without even engaging me on that one. He is a Brown Mahotsi that is his comrade. I raise issues in the open meeting of parliament about Brown Mahotsi. He doesn't pause to question, but what did Brown do? So that he can get to hear more. He doesn't, he just brush it off and he continues with Brown. So it's a person that you are warning about what's happening and he ignores you. What can you do? You can conclude that means he's aware of what's happening.
Okay.
So without you having a concrete evidence, but his attitude tells you that he knows very well what's happening. It just makes sure that it cannot be traced. He push it far away and he operates from the distance.
Okay. Now, you also took umbrage with the reasons that he advanced for the disbandment, right? Cost effectiveness and cost, and then the effectiveness of the PKTT. I won't go into that, but he did put a reason that I also thought was probably plausible when he said the PKTT should be a national PKTT. Do you dispute that?
You cannot arrive is Makwanazi, whereas my surname is Mkwanas. So he arrives in the police, PKTT is on black and white, written. He comes and he adds an N on top of it. Where does he get it from? So he started creating his own thing. And Orang members, with respect, this team started in 2018. Everything written on this paper does not have an N. But when he comes
that's not my question. Okay,
No.
I want to stop you because my question is, he says part of the reason why he wanted to disband it was so that he could spread the capacity throughout the country. I mean, I was talking to you now about Eastern Cape and the need for a similar thing in other provinces. I'm sure you just said they opened in Gauteng. So one of the reasons he raises is that you needed a national PKTT. First, he says that was a national police task team operating in KwaZulu-Natal, but then he wanted to disband it so that they could spread the capacity of the PKTT across the country. You disagree with that
I
reason?
disagree. That's why I'm starting with the N. Because in his mind, it's a national thing. I can do what I like. Wrong, minister. This is in province, KZN. So it does not have an N. That's a start. Second to that, you sign a letter on the 31st of December after you figure out that you need to reorganize the service. You disband this, you close the post, freeing of the vacancies and stuff like that. There is no work study. There is no this and that here. When you are asked, you start running around and finding reasons. The reasons of money, the CFO comes here and say, no, minister, money was not a problem. Find something else. He says it before you. She said it before you. And then the minister goes and phones someone somewhere in a witness protection and say, please give me a statement, and that person records it. And they present it. Oh, this reason doesn't fly. What another reason? Another reason this and that. So the minister try and figure out to justify the action.
Okay.
Because he had no material to justify it.
3 minutes left.
Yes.
Sorry, I get your answers. I'm not interrupting you. Very quickly, you said that you once took one of the cars that was meant for the king and you put it on operations. I think that's a laudable thing. But also, I remember yesterday, Honorable Skosan raised a question around traditional leaders, kings in particular. General Masemola said only 2 are being protected. Now that the mandate of the PKTT has been expanded to include traditional leaders, one is the traditional leaders only in KwaZulu-Natal, and 2, what about the rest of the traditional leaders, especially the kings throughout the country? Is there any plan for security around them? Is there any plan for even security and threat analysis, or do you just leave them like that? If I could get a shortened version of the answer so that I can pose my last one.
I'm going to request honorable members that you look at the legislation and guide us as South African Police Service on what to do. There is no responsibility given by the law to the South African Police Service to protect the kings. The only kings we look after are the heads of states, the king of Eswatini, amongst others. Those are the ones we protect when they come to the country. The ones in the country, there's no legal authority we have.
But General Masemola said there are 2 that you look.
We have no legal authority. Listen to what I'm saying, honorable member. We are doing it. The Portfolio Committee of Police, the Auditor General of South Africa don't hold us into account. So we continue doing it.
All right. So that's a reform that we need to look at. Lastly, General, please can you, because I know that I'll be stopped before I finish, I want to ask you to comment on the Zulu War issue. But then I had told you that I had fundraised some questions for you. So I'm going to throw this so that this person is not upset with me. The person is called Nhlanhla, and they say, I don't have a question for the general. Just tell him we love him and we shall always stand by him. What a man, what a giant. History will remember him. So I wanted to pass on that message to you, General. I won't pass on the ones of the many, many ladies who have sent me messages to you. Can you please comment on the Zulu War, General?
I think, honorable member, there is, and I would like you to take it to your own political party, because from my assessment where I'm sitting, there is a problem between the former minister and the current minister, Minister Mkhunu and former Minister Cele. What is the problem? I don't know. And we somehow, I feel like we're getting caught in the middle. And we are painted as the people that are siding with this one and not that one. We worked with Cele. We worked very well. He's gone. He's no longer minister. We have a new minister. We must work with a new minister. I pleaded with the minister to come and visit KZN. Minister Mkhunu will tell you that. So we can brief him about policing in KZN. He has not done that. Now, when people are then influencing him that we are Cele's people, if he takes that attitude, he then creates more divide. And an outsider will then say it's a Zulu war.
Thank you so much.